It was the dawn of a new age, the Second Elizabethan era, a time of great advances in the world of science and technology. Russia led the space race with their Red Moon. The satellite circled the Earth every 95 minutes, sending radio messages which were eagerly monitored by scientists all over the world. Back on Earth, nobody was faster than Roger Bannister, who achieved the dream of every athlete when he ran a mile in under 4 minutes. Hollywood glamour came to the European monarchy when Grace Kelly became Princess Grace of Monaco. Elvis Presley had to leave the world of rock and roll behind when he received his call-up papers. And Britain played host to Hollywood's Queen of the 50s, Marilyn Monroe. On the day of the coronation, London had never seen such excitement. The streets were filled with crowds who slept overnight on the hard pavements of the Mall to catch a glimpse of their new queen. Many of those who weren't able to be there watched the event on television for the first time. In spite of the pouring rain, the event went smoothly. The Queen Mother, keeping a watchful eye on her grandchildren, looked on while her daughter endured the ceremony with the same grace as she had done 15 years earlier.
The Archbishop lifts the crown of St. Edward and holds it for a moment above the Queen's head. As he gently lowers it, a great shout is raised from the congregation. The word has gone forth. The Queen is crowned.
Britain had yet more to celebrate. On the day of the coronation, it was announced that Everest had been conquered by Sherpa Tenzing and Sir Edmund Hillary. The new queen had to establish herself and find her own distinctive style. It was a young monarchy, and the retiring queen was happy to step back for a while. As a mother and a royal, she faced a difficult situation when her younger daughter Margaret announced her intention to marry the divorced royal equerry Peter Townsend. Only her mother could have understood the personal sacrifices that sometimes have to be made to uphold the traditions of royalty.
Mindful of the Church's teaching that Christian marriage is indissoluble, and conscious of my duty to the Commonwealth, I have resolved to put these considerations before any others. I have reached this decision entirely alone, and in doing so, I have been strengthened by the unfailing support and devotion of Group Captain Townsend. I am deeply grateful for the concern of all those who have constantly prayed for my happiness.
She was later to find happiness with the young court photographer Anthony Armstrong Jones.
It needs no imagination to understand Her Majesty's great joy in this betrothal. May we join with the rest of Britain in offering congratulations and every possible good wish to Her Royal Highness Princess Margaret and her husband.
It was her informality which endeared her to the people of America. She clearly enjoyed a shopping spree on Fifth Avenue and requested popular songs at a Commonwealth ball. In return, she was cheered and followed and given the affectionate name Queen Mum.
It was to aid the fund for building a vestry at Crathy Church near Balmoral that members of the royal family and their household helped at a sale of work at Abergeldy Castle.
It is as Queen Mum that she has stayed in the hearts of the British. Without taking any of the limelight away from her daughter, she has created an important role for herself. Her greatest pleasures have been found in her family, and wherever possible they are seen together and smiling.
First, the royal family looked over the situation and the goods for sale. Obviously, it was all quite a new experience for them.
For the royal family, the 1960s started with a very happy event. The wedding of Princess Margaret drew the biggest crowd since the coronation. Her sister, the Queen, gave birth to her second son, Prince Andrew Albert Christian Edward. 4 years later, he was to have another brother, Edward. The country was in the throes of Beatlemania, bearing all the hallmarks of a decade of cults, crazes, scandal, war, and civil unrest. England triumphed in the World Cup, beating Germany, a nation divided by the construction of the Berlin Wall. America witnessed the growth of the civil rights movement. It gained and then lost a fine young president and engaged in a war which was to last well into the next decade. The dedication of a memorial plaque to Queen Mary brought about a historic reunion. For the first time in over 30 years, the Duke and Duchess of Windsor shared a small platform with the widowed Queen. This public acknowledgement, although a little uncomfortable, marked a brief return from exile by the couple who changed the face of the British monarchy. Since the abdication, the Duke and Duchess of Windsor were rarely seen apart. The early years of their marriage were spent in the social circles of Paris, Versailles, and the Côte d'Azur. For the duration of the war, the Duke was appointed governor to the Bahamas for safekeeping. They returned to France and made it their home in the post-war years, and it was there in 1972 that the Duke passed away, closing an extraordinary chapter in British history. Clarence House, the official residence of the Queen Mother, has continued to receive an increasing number of requests for her presence at every kind of occasion. Her gracious acceptance has meant that even in her 70s, 80s and 90s, she has had one of the busiest diaries in the royal family. She has always had a particular rapport with children, and there is never a shortage of posies, cakes and gifts for her on her birthday.
The Queen Mother knows all about the business of royal occasions. She tackles the task capably and well. The Queen Mum. No one calls her that in a tone of derision. It is said even by the most unlikely people with real affection. There is probably no personage in public life today who is so genuinely, so sincerely loved by the vast heart of this nation.
The world of national hunt racing could never deny the importance of the Queen Mother and her enduring interest in the sport. From the end of the war, she and her daughters have owned a succession of winners and have always been on hand to share in the excitement of the race. Princess Anne, who has shared her love of horses, was the first of her grandchildren to marry in 1973. It is family occasions such as these which have always brought her undeniable pleasure. When Lady Diana Spencer married Prince Charles, her initiation into the royal family was made easier by the Queen Mother, who had given her instruction in how to take on the responsibilities of her new role. There was soon a new Duchess of York, when Prince Andrew married Sarah Ferguson and took on the title last held by the Queen Mother herself. Another generation of royal children have brought her joy. As a great-grandmother, she has passed on her wisdom and experience to the royalty of the future. She has had to face a number of crises in the House of Windsor. 2 generations of royal marriages have proved to be less happy and enduring than her own. But whatever the difficulty, she has never allowed it to show.
Throughout Her Majesty's life, there has been one constant, her smile. A dignified but caring and accessible monarchy was her creation. And for the best part of the 20th century, it has held the nation together. She has circled the globe, but in spite of all the hands she has shaken and the lives she has touched, there is that little bit of mystery and reserve which has allowed her to carry the respect of both the media and the public. When the King died, she said, "My only wish now is I may be allowed to continue the work we sought to do together." In this, she succeeded.